Trigger warning. This podcast is about grief. Whether you are newly bereaved or whether you have been stuck in grief for years, I do hope this podcast brings you some comfort. Grief is such a universal experience, but we all do it differently. This podcast is not about fixing you or forcing the healing process, because there is no cure for grief. It can only be absorbed, experienced, loved and cared for. So whether you are doing it privately behind closed doors, or like me, you are kicking and screaming your way through, let's support each other. This is a safe space where we can come together and share experiences. My hope is that this podcast shines a light on your path and gives you the strength to navigate your way through the grieving process. My name is Louise Bates, and I'm so pleased we connected. I'm looking forward to interviewing people who have also walked this path to find out what worked for them, in the hope that it helps you too. I'm sending you so much love and support, and I look forward to sharing this crazy journey with you. Hello and welcome to this episode of A Gift for Grief. And today I am delighted to introduce Jessica Harrison, who is the co-founder of J D Therapies. She has many qualifications, including past life regression therapy. She is an energy master practitioner, a cold water immersion coach. She does sound healing, and she is a transformational breathwork facilitator. As well as her one-to-one sessions, Jessica also hosts a number of classes, wellness days and retreats. So welcome, Jessica. You are a very busy lady.
Yes.
Now, we both work in the wellness industry.
Yeah.
So it was inevitable that the universe would eventually bring us together.
Yes.
And I joined one of your cold water swimming events in December.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we met.
Yes.
And then I went to a Petra Kuchar presentation night, and you were one of the guest speakers.
Yes.
And you shared some very personal information about your past that I had no idea about.
Okay.
So perhaps you would like to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into the amazing work that you do.
Of course. Thank you, Lou. So, yes, I'm Jessica. I like to be referred to as Jess. And I got into holistic therapies 10 years ago. Now, it was just before I came into recovery, because I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict, and I'm in my 10th year of sobriety. So just before I came into recovery, I started to take an interest in holistic approaches. And I started off by doing Reiki and also regression therapy.
Yeah.
My specialism is past life regression,
Okay.
which I still do, but I don't do as much because obviously the cold water immersion and swimming and breath work has taken off.
Yeah.
After COVID, that was because I went into early menopause after having my son.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's why that's taken off. But I do get the past life regression is quite a niche subject, and not everybody perhaps comprehends it or believes in it. So it's a niche market.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody breathes, because we need to breathe to live. And that's where my work is at the present moment, and it's growing.
And apparently we can be breathing incorrectly.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a fascinating subject,
Yes.
isn't it?
The breath has got the infinite ability to help heal one on one's healing journey.
Yeah. So with your recovery, Jess, what was it that helped you to get from where you were then to what you're doing now?
So I regularly attend AA.
Okay.
I can't talk too much about that in terms of, because it's attraction over promotion, as they say in the meetings. But I work a 12-step recovery program, basically.
Yeah.
And that has given me a foundation to be able to catapult me into different areas.
Yeah.
So I started taking a real interest in my first couple of years of recovery.
Yeah.
So meditation, mindfulness, energy healing, because I believe that we're all energy.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
consciousness. So it's just been a natural progression for me, I suppose.
Do you know, I think it's often those who have faced massive life challenges are the ones who become the most effective therapists.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, we have a deeper understanding and empathy for others.
Yes.
But having said that, I know there are fantastic counsellors and therapists
Yes,
who
of
have had a
course.
lovely life.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement to have a crappy time, but it's often the case, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We face some adversity or hardship
Yeah, yeah.
that we've had to overcome.
Absolutely. Now, I love the cold water swimming. And I think it stems from my childhood. My parents had a camper van, so they'd always make sure they camped near either a stream, a river or a lake.
Yes.
Because we'd all just go off and they wouldn't see us for the day. And, you know, 10 years ago, it just wasn't cool to tell people that you swam in the river because
No.
people would go, what, you swim in the river?
Yeah.
But then Wim Hof comes along and everybody seems to want to do it now,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a booming business, I would imagine.
Yes, it is, very much so. I got into it in COVID.
Yeah.
Before that, I've often dipped in summertime years before as a child in the River Avon when I lived in Leamington. I've been known to take a dip or a plunge occasionally, but not as often as what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's my livelihood today.
Yeah.
But I really, really got into it because I went into early menopause, and I got into it just before and around COVID because I found that nobody could have interaction with anybody during COVID times.
So it was a very weird time, wasn't it?
Yes, most definitely. And yeah, I used to go out on nature walks, and if it took my fancy, I'd just jump in a river.
Yeah, you sound like me.
Yeah, so it's the inner child in me coming out, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Now, if people are listening that are interested in getting in touch with you, what's the best way to get in contact? Do you have a website?
Yes, my website is J D Therapies, www.jdtherapies.com. I also work a lot from WhatsApp, so I don't mind people having my number,
Okay.
which is 07946 263 601. And then on my social medias, I'm on both Instagram as JD Therapies 999 and then JD Therapies on Facebook.
That's fab. So,
Thank you.
yes, I recommend people check all those out. So we've talked about the amazing work that you do, and I can personally recommend you having been on one of your events. But you're here today to share your personal grief story. So who is the special person we're remembering today?
It's my brother Lewis.
Okay. So could you tell us a little bit about Lewis?
Yes. Lewis and I grew up together. We were both from here in Leamington, and I was his elder sister, so I was 4 years older than him. He was a larger than life character. He was quite outgoing, like myself. We as siblings and younger siblings, not occasionally, but we used to bicker and
Well, that's normal, isn't it?
yes, and fight but into my adult life, when I moved to Birmingham, I didn't come back a lot to Warwickshire, so I didn't see parts of my family for a long period of time.
Okay.
But I did come back for a short while in 2012, and we spoke occasionally whilst I was just down the road or just down the M40. But as children, we were close because we were close in age. We lived together. But I think when I turned 15, 16, we sort of went down our different paths.
Yes.
Because pretty much within my last teenage years, I was leaving Leamington, and then I went on to pastures new.
Yeah.
So I didn't see him as much in his adult life in his 20s.
Yeah.
But when I did come back, which I think was 2011, 2012, we did spend some time together when I did come back. And then it was 2015 that he sadly had a tragic accident and he died.
Oh, what a terrible shock.
When
for
he
you
fell
and the
down the
family.
stairs, yeah.
Yeah. So how old was he then?
I think he was 33 or 34.
Yeah.
If my memory's a little bit at the moment around numbers, I used to be really, really on point,
Yeah.
but because of this menopause, I sometimes get a bit clouded.
Oh,
On a funny note, I thought the other week I was in Morocco. Well, I was in Morocco over Christmas, and somebody asked me how old I was. I said, I'm about 47, I think. And then my baby's father said, no, you're not. You're getting on for 50. And it took me 10 minutes to sit back and say, no, I'm not. I'm actually 46.
Yeah.
I'm not even 47, and I'm sure as hell not 49. So he was 33 or 34.
Yeah. I think we all get those moments,
Yes.
Jess, don't worry.
Yeah.
But, I think that's normal for families. As you're growing up, you have that close bond.
Yes.
And then you start to find your feet in the world and you go in your different directions and you see less of each other.
Yes.
But there's always that, family bond that's
yes.
there. And nobody can take that away.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite memory of Lewis?
Yes. When we weren't squabbling and fighting, we never used to really beat each other up, but we would often the squabbling would become a little bit too far. We'd go
a bit
too
physical.
far. Yeah. But we both love Grease and the film Grease, and I remember as a child we'd have it on repeat constantly, and we'd be acting the characters in Grease constantly. As a child, we would have been about probably 6 and 9, 6 and 10.
Yeah. It's lovely to focus on the good times, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think all brothers and sisters and siblings squabble. It's part of
Life,
finding your way. And so to be able to look back and think about the times when you got on and that closeness that you had, it's good to focus on that, isn't it? So, Jess, what helps you with your grief? Did you have any counselling or therapy?
I did. Now, my grief journey is a little bit enmeshed, I'd like to say, if that's the correct words. So when my brother died on the 11th of March 2015, I was actually in Future Ventura on holiday. So my family had been calling me throughout the night, early hours of the morning. So I woke up to God knows how many missed calls on my phone. I was in my early recovery at this point, so I was just over 18 months sober.
Wow.
And luckily I was on that holiday for me personally with a sponsor, because we have sponsor and we sponsor women in the fellowship. My sponsor at the time was with me, and I was in shock. I went into disassociation.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up a drink, which for myself was I got through the shock without picking up a drink.
That's amazing.
So it was good, because those sort of situations can take you back to having a drink if you don't work a program and you don't connect to the right people.
Yeah.
So I was being protected, should we say.
Did you find that hard? Did you want to, or did you just...
Well, I went to the bar, and I'm not a massive coffee drinker, and I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I used to smoke. It was the smoking I wasn't able to put down straight away.
Yeah.
The substances and the alcohol I wasn't able to do everything in one hit. But what I found is that I did go to the bar on the morning in Future Ventura, and I was chain smoking, and I was drinking lots of coffee.
Yeah.
So although that's not very healthy for me, I know that I didn't pick up an alcoholic drink, because that would have spiralled out of control then for me personally. So I came back 2 or 3 days later, because it was halfway through the holiday that my brother had passed, and I was asked, would I go and see him in the morgue at Walsgrave Hospital. I went with my dad, and I seen his dead body.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stay in there for too long. However, I never shed a tear.
Okay.
And I didn't feel it was normal. But then little did I know that 2 weeks after him dying, I went to the doctors. The doctors sent me straight to Warwick Hospital, and I was 4 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So the experience for me was a catch between grief and shock and joy, because I'd always wanted a little boy.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me at that time, at the end of March, I didn't know what I was carrying, but I knew that I had a baby, that I was going to have a baby, and I was 38, so it would have been my last chance, probably, because within a year of having my son, I went into early menopause at 39, 40.
So he was a real gift for you.
Yes, definitely. So my belief is that the way that the universe works is, although it's very, very hard and it's very, very sad, one life goes from a family dynamic and then another one comes in.
Yeah.
So yes, he is a gift to me.
Yeah. So it's a nice way of looking at what's a horrible situation.
Yes, yeah.
But you had this shock of hearing about his death while you were on holiday.
Yes.
I would imagine you just feel numb.
Yes.
Those early stages, you feel numb. And then 2 weeks later, you find out you're expecting.
Yes.
And you have the joy of that.
Yes.
So I would imagine the grief is there underneath.
Yes.
And do you feel that sometimes? Do you connect with that?
Yes. And I dreamt, I do have dreams about him. And because we work with energy, as you do, Louise, to some people this might be crackers, but I feel.
Yeah.
I feel and I sense it when it's around me. So I believe he has become part of my angel team.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're sensitive and you work with energy, you'll be able to
feel it,
pick up on that. Yeah. So how would you describe grief to someone who has never had a significant loss?
For me, it's complete soul shattering and shocking. My experience was that I was very, very rocked to the core by it. But within a couple of weeks, I was battling with being completely shocked and disassociated to them being joyous. And it was a real battle where some people would probably experience that shock if it was tragic, like it was in my brother's situation.
Yeah.
And it was early because no one expects to lose a daughter or a son or a child that's so young into their life.
Yeah.
But it depends on the actual circumstances. If somebody's a lot older and they're in the 70s or 80s, it's still the same, but it might not have the shock emotion to it because you expect, God forgive me for saying this, but you expect people as they get older to pass. But when it's when it's a tragic situation that occurs, it was just very shocking for me.
Yeah. So, the natural order of life is you live a long life and you die peacefully at the end.
Yes.
And it's not always like that. I mean, none of us know what's round the corner, do we?
No, we don't.
But do you believe that this experience of grief has changed you in a way?
It's been the making of me.
Okay.
Because I was giving my son.
Yeah.
So I chose to see the positive in a very, very sad circumstance.
Yeah.
And I channel everything into him.
Okay.
And I nurture him to the best of my ability so that he isn't into things that he shouldn't be into.
Yeah.
Because some people are lost souls, and as you and I both know, I don't know whether I should be saying, it was his soul contract to go back over. It was his God contract to go back over. So I found acceptance in it because of my spiritual beliefs.
Well, I have to say, Jess, that I do resonate with that.
Yes, but not everybody would do.
And I totally understand that a lot of people listening to this might be thinking, these two ladies are completely bonkers.
Yes.
What are they talking about?
Yeah.
But I often wonder if, was my son's death, did we make a soul contract before we incarnated into this life that he would have this experience?
Yes.
And die at a young age?
Yes.
As with Lewis?
Yeah.
Was it a soul contract that he made with his soul group?
Yes.
So I totally understand where you're coming from. And it's almost like a survival mechanism, because
Yes.
you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense ordinarily.
Yes.
So I think, well, if it was a soul contract, it was meant to be, and we're just following our soul paths.
Yes. Yeah.
So I do understand that.
Yeah.
But listeners, we're not completely bonkers.
No, we're not. It's just people perceive the world differently.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why and how I found acceptance in it, because of my spiritual beliefs.
Yeah.
So I found some peace around it. I was hormonal at the time.
Yeah.
I was very, very hormonal. I had a bad pregnancy during the 6 months after, but yes, I was given a counsellor, psychotherapist at Warwick Hospital.
Yeah.
That worked with me because I was pregnant, and because I was a recovering alcoholic, because I wasn't able to go to as many meetings as well.
Yeah.
In my pregnancy, because I had preeclampsia towards the end.
So yeah, it's I mean, your body's going through so many changes.
Yeah.
You've had this, dreadful events happen,
Yes.
family events happen. Do you feel that you were well supported throughout this time?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I was.
Good.
I was, yes, because I never picked up, and it built resilience within me. I never turned to drink and drugs.
Yeah.
And I don't have the obsession to pick up if things challenge me and test me in life today.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You've done so well, Jess.
Thank you.
So, through your experience of losing your brother, what words would you choose to express your condolences to somebody that's going through a bereavement? Do you have the magic formula?
I wouldn't say it's magic, but I can empathise. I think it's empathy.
Yes.
I think the quality and the trait is empathy, where you can give your experience in your circumstance, and you hope and pray that that person that's going through it, like you've just said,
Yeah.
you resonate with what I was saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they ID with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's about making connection, isn't it?
Yes.
Unless you've been through a really big significant loss, it's hard to explain what that feels like. But when you know somebody else has gone through it, you feel that deep connection, and you feel less alone, I think.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that the listeners will pick up on this, that, they're listening to us. We've been through a difficult loss.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will feel less alone too.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. So whereabouts are you, would you say, in your grief journey now?
So I often think of my brother. I've become very personal in terms of, on his anniversary, I'll do something. I'll always light a candle. So I would say I'm at full acceptance of it because of my belief and spiritual beliefs. I like to think of it the way that we've just spoken about, because that gives me peace.
Yeah.
That gives me peace. And the fact that I was given my son.
Yeah, you're a very positive person.
Thank you. Yeah, I do try to flip the script on it. Although it's difficult and not everybody can do that, I would say it took me probably about a year or two after having Clay that I found some inner peace.
Yeah.
I didn't have the washing machine head. I wasn't. I was able to emotionally regulate myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Because before I wasn't able to.
Well, I do believe that when we make peace with our grief and loss, it sends our loved ones peace.
Yes, yes,
They
definitely.
want us to be at peace.
Yes.
And I know it's easy to say that.
Yeah.
Actually getting to that place is, we have to put the work in.
Yes, yeah.
So, it's not easy for some people. It's not easy, especially if somebody's in the very early stages of grief and they're listening to us talk. They might think,
oh, I can't get past that.
Yeah. But I'm 8 years down the road from losing Matthew. How long's it been since Lewis died?
So it'll be 8 years.
Oh,
it'll be 8 years in a couple of weeks on March the 11th. Because then my son was born 6 months later.
Yeah. So what would you like people to learn from your experience?
That for me personally, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And the light for me personally was my son.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm being given a gift from above because I come into recovery. I was doing the next right thing. And I know that my brother's with me.
Yeah. And that's lovely. It gives you comfort, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you've been through this very difficult time, and then you lose your brother, and then you're told you're pregnant.
Yes.
What a whirlwind of different emotions that you must have experienced at
within
that time.
Within the space of 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So you have this very positive mindset. You said that you're very spiritual. So what are your thoughts about the afterlife?
I believe, yeah.
I believe.
I believe. I'm a 100% believer. So I believe that I'm on my last life personally now. My birth date and my life path number all show me that I was born on 10/10. So from my personal research over the last 10 years, anybody that has a double figure birthday, as in 112233, is an old soul. I'm a life path 9, which the more we go up the life path numbers also determines if you've been here before. And I believe I've got it right now. And obviously I know that you're aware of a very special lady in the Cotswolds, where we've both been. And she confirms when I go there that we've all had past lives because it's what she does for a living. But not everybody buys into it or believes in it, which is fine. Everyone, each to their own. But me personally, I'm 100% for it. And I know that I've been here before. And I think because I'm on my own healing journey at the present moment, and it will continue as long as I live on this earth, that I think that I've got it right now.
Right.
So I think, or I'm doing it right, where I probably haven't done in previous lives, which is why I've come back.
Okay.
To get it right this time. And I have a strong inner knowing that I am doing it right now.
Okay.
So I don't think that I'd probably come back again, but I don't know for 100%.
Oh, we're going deep here, Jess, with past life stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure where I stand with the whole past life thing. We'll have to have a conversation about this afterwards. But there'll be people out there that will, you know, totally get that.
With it,
yeah. And when you start talking about numerology and the numbers, I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this is my last life, whether I've got another 100 to do. I have no idea.
But in answer to your question, the afterlife, I believe that once we lose somebody, the vessel is either buried or burned.
Yeah.
Whatever you choose or whatever their decisions were. I know in our circumstances, then the parents and my parents had to make the decision as to whether my brother would be cremated or buried. He was cremated.
Yeah.
That's how I personally would want to go, because I believe the spirit and the energy and the consciousness rises up.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, I believe, although the physical vessel isn't there in the physical, then the energy and the spirit and the consciousness goes back up.
Yes, yeah. So this body is just a vehicle that houses our consciousness.
Yes.
And once his physical body dies, the consciousness leaves and returns. And this is where I sort of question the whole past life thing, because I like to think that my loved ones are going to be waiting for me when it's my turn.
Yes.
I don't want them to think they're not going to be there. They're going to be off living some other life somewhere.
Yes, yeah, of course.
So, yeah,
we're never going to actually 120% know until we pass over.
Absolutely.
But there is something more.
That's it, yeah. That's how I feel. More. I don't know what it is, but there's something.
Yes,
definitely.
there is.
Yeah. So, do you believe our loved ones can give us signs?
Yes. I believe in synchronicity. I believe in signs. I have it working this 12-step recovery program. I see signs daily.
Okay.
I see synchronicities, and it's like, for example, about a month or so ago, I never done Pilates before a month ago.
Right.
And I kept getting signs for Pilates, and it's never happened before. So that is something energetically being put for me to see in my path, for me to take notice of it.
Okay.
And now that I've started doing it, the signs have gone.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that happens a lot. I get a lot of number repetition.
Yeah.
777 is the 7 is the sacred God number.
Okay.
9 is about completion. So I get a lot of that. 8 is about affinity and abundance. So I'm getting a lot of 7-7, which is saying that I'm on the right path at the moment. 888, we're quite abundant. I'm not a millionaire-ess. I don't want to be, because years ago, money was a big motivator in my past career. It's not today. It's the passion that I'm helping people that overrides financial success.
Yeah.
I suppose a part of my ego is diminished, although it will never go. No one's ego ever leaves them.
It's part of being human, isn't it?
Of course it is, and it's lessons that we need to learn. But I'm definitely more humble than what I used to be.
Okay. So have you had any direct signs from, would you say, from Lewis or?
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very early on. I get his birthday in numbers. I've smelt him. If that makes sense. I smelt when I was in Kenilworth. The smell of alcohol. And I knew it was him, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Intuitively, you knew that connection was there. Yeah. And that's just like, it's nice and comforting because you know that they're with you.
And I don't get scared by it.
No.
But some people might think that's just crackers, but it's my belief. And
Yeah. I know when I felt my loved ones around me, or like you say, synchronicities or little happenings, little things happen. I just think, I know who that is, and I just acknowledge it and say thank you. And I talk to them. I talk to them all the time.
I get it on number plates, his name on number plates as well. We lost a cousin as well a couple of years before Lewis. I used to get his number plate, his name on number plates as well. That's how it's shown to me through numbers, sometimes smells, sometimes I can feel energy. Because my third eye's open, if that makes sense. My mind's eye's open, so to receive the messages.
And I think that our loved ones do send us messages, but not everybody is in the right place to notice it.
Yeah,
and they'll say, well, I don't get messages.
Yeah.
And, I don't want people to think because they're not getting a message, or perhaps my loved one doesn't love me as much.
No.
They're there, they're around.
Yeah.
And I think when we start to make peace with our grief, we start to notice these things more because we were on that vibration. We're sort of picking up on the frequency.
Yes.
And I have to say the weirdest sign ever for me was actually seeing the name Matthew written in the clouds.
Yes.
I could make out the M in capital letters, the A, double T, H, E, W.
Yes.
And by the time I brought my husband's attention to it, it was starting to morph and it was almost gone. But I definitely saw his name in the clouds.
Yes.
And people would think that is completely too far. You're going too far now, Louise.
No, but you're not. And I totally get that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. I have seen angels in clouds.
Yes,
and I've seen love hearts and stuff in clouds.
Yeah.
So I believe you.
Somebody believes me.
Yeah, I believe you most definitely, because you've got to be, as you said, you've got to be in alignment and you've got to be able to perceive it.
Yeah.
And that's all part and parcel of someone's healing journey. It doesn't just happen like that.
Yeah.
For me, it didn't. It's been a case of over the last 10 years since I put the drink and the substances down, it's got stronger and stronger and stronger. Whereas now I see these synchronicities on a daily and hourly basis sometimes, but then sometimes I might not see them for a little while, and I say that I'm getting a rest.
Yes, I
I'm
like
getting
that.
A little rest.
Yeah, I find that they happen when I least expect it.
Yes.
They don't happen when I want them to happen.
No.
But then, you could almost miss them.
Yes.
They're so subtle sometimes.
Yes.
It's very easy to. I probably missed hundreds of them. He's probably thrown signs at me all the time.
Yes, yeah.
Or I remember the day after my mum died, there was a white feather on the sofa where
feathers is a big one.
I sat.
Pennies was another one with me as well.
Oh, I've never had pennies.
Yeah, loads of pennies just at my feet in my home, and yet there was only me and my son in my home, and he was nowhere near my purse, and they were just there.
Yeah.
There's no reason to explain why a penny would be in the middle of in the floor. And I also get feathers too.
Yeah.
I used to get feathers a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And robins come and sit in my garden.
Yes.
And,
So there's lots of little ways they can come and sort of give us a bit of a nudge.
Yeah.
So Jess, if you could give Lewis a message now, what would you say?
That I personally understand from past that he made the right decision to go back over. That was his time.
Yeah, lovely. So, what a fascinating podcast. I think me and you could talk for hours.
Yes.
But I think that's a beautiful place to finish.
Okay,
so
thank you.
You so much for being a guest today, by sharing your story and your insights and your spirituality. Our listeners may be able to take some golden nuggets away from this episode, helping them to move forward in a more positive way. And sibling loss is the least talked about loss. Yet siblings often share a unique and special bond unlike any other relationship. And it can feel like a piece of you is missing, leaving you feeling lost and alone. It's common for siblings to struggle with feelings of survivor's guilt or regret over unresolved issues.
Yes.
And you may also feel like you're carrying the weight of your parents' grief as well. So, finding ways to honour your siblings' memory, talking openly about your feelings with other loved ones, all of this can help in processing the profound loss of losing a brother or a sister. So thank you, Jess, for talking about Lewis today.
You're welcome.
It not only helps to keep his memory alive, it will help our listeners too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of A Gift for Grief. Please feel free to share it with your friends and family, and let's encourage others to become more grief literate. If you're struggling with your grief or worried about your mental health, please do speak to your doctor. If you would like to join me on my social media groups, check out the show notes for all the links, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. The music on this podcast was written and recorded by Matthew Bates and can be found on his 2 albums, Fight Back and Kaleidoscope.